Okay, so this is regarding real estate transaction rooms. Miss Melissa has been in the transaction room creating a new file for the closing file, and I just want to kind of share with you how it works on video. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe who knows, but if it helps, that would be great. So I'm gonna go into Safari. You could use Yahoo browser, any browser you want, and then what you would want to do is type in real estate dot DocuSign .com. So realestate.docusign.com, then enter, and then you're going to see this. Okay, so here you would put home. I think it's cap sensitive, so capital HOME, and then sales, capital SALES, at Thomas Messina.com. Okay, so it should look like that. Then press continue. And then I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to add the password. I'll email you the password. That way it's not out there on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in. Oops, I don't think I did the capital on that. I'm typing and the camera's right in front, so it's very awkward, so bear with me. Okay, that should be the password, which I will email to you. So you hit that button, and then you're gonna see this. Okay, let me show you what's going on here. This is the elderberry 1644, and this is what we're talking about. But if you press transactions, this would be all the transactions we did in the past back to Wheaton, 1825 Wheaton. So these are all the different transactions I've done or even prepared and haven't had anything to do with. Like if I wanted to, if I was doing an open house for, say, I even think your Castleton should be in here. Yeah, if I did an open house for Castleton, I would have had a residential purchase agreement ready, and then I just put the flyer that we had made up there, so that way I would have it on hand. And so to get back out of there, you'd go back to transactions, and then what we're gonna do is go to 1644 Elderberry and click on that. Okay, so that's going to open up the elderberry. All right, that just puts us at details. What we want to do is go into documents, click on documents, and this is the transaction room for elderberry. Okay, and typically you would see just, this is the main thing you want to see here, transaction docs 71. This upper part is the preparation for the closing file. This lower part is just my room that I just, every time I get an email and a document, I throw it in here. So everything is in here that would be pertaining to this transaction. Okay, down to the earnest money deposit check, where I just took a picture of that and stuck it in there. We don't need a lot of this for the closing file, especially like the offer letter and stuff like that. So, but you can see the purchase agreements in there, sellers, all that's in there. What Melissa has done is just copied these documents that we need for the closing file and put up on the, it's all in the transaction room, but it's just another file in the transaction room. And the only way you could tell is just by this little thing here. transaction docs. So anything above this is the closing file. So closing file automatically ends up on top. And what she's done, okay, and another thing that you're going to need to know, else none of this is going to make sense, is add newest. This little button up here, if you click on the little down arrow, you'll want to go owner A to Z. So that takes all of these files and it's going to put it in order. So right now it's from the newest. So the newest one that she put in there was a termite, but we don't want the newest because that would be probably one of the last. So what you do is you click on owner AZ. So that puts it all in order that she has it in. And that's very important because it's, so it ends right here. Anything below here is the, just all my, everything. This up here is the closing file. Okay, so we're gonna scroll down on this. And the way she's been doing this is, one of the first ones you have on your list is AD, Agency's Disclosure, okay? And as you know, it all comes together with the purchase agreement. So what she's done here is, if you click on this, just a left click, it'll open up that file. Okay, so in that one is the BIA, seller counter, this agency, the AD is there. Okay, and this one just has pretty much the offer packet. Okay, so this has wire fraud, California purchase agreement, everything is on that first, we call them tiles, but that first document. Okay, so, and if you just, you can see the little arrow, you're getting towards the end of the page, you can see that little thing scrolling down, that means you're getting towards the end. So that's everything that's on that document. Okay, what you want to do is just press this X right here. Is that, can you see that? I think you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so there's this X. All right, click that. All right, so she has that noted as 1.0. Okay, so 1.1, and what she's gone through and done is split this packet into a bunch of different pieces. So anything that is in this one is labeled as 1. So as you can see, it goes up to 7. So there's 7 different documents within that first one. Okay, so the first one would be the buyer's inspection adversary here. Let me see. So that's just one. Okay, so you could check that. And then if you wanted to see the counteroffer is there by itself. There's that. Okay, now we're going to X here. And if you want to see the agency disclosure by itself, this is what this is. So she's kind of formatted it to where it makes sense to her and it's easy to navigate through. Okay, so that's pretty much what's in the residential purchase agreement. Oh, you know, PRBS, WFA is that the wire fraud. Okay, so the idea is for you just to come into the transaction room and to see where we're at any time. Okay, so you could just, I mean, go in and browse through and see where we're at with the transaction. If you don't see anything in here that should be in here, then at that point you could let us know, like, hey, I don't see the you know, as the wire fraud thing document. But before you did that, you'd want to scroll down lower than this, and if you saw it down in here, it just means that we didn't get it up there yet. Like, say for example, if you want to see the cooperating broker, that should be in there. There it is right there, but it's not up above yet. Okay, so on to seller's disclosures, as you know, we receive those from listing agents, and those have all kinds of documents in them. And some of those are like, if we're dealing with Century 21, they would have their own franchise documents that you wouldn't normally call out on the list. But as we go through here, there's a whole bunch of them. You can see the little black sidebar there. It's saying that we're not even halfway. Okay, so this is the halfway point there. So we know there's just a whole bunch of documents. Which is this one? Is this the 7 of 12 SBSA? Okay, so there's like these are the ones I was talking about here. This kind of stuff. This is Clio, and they have their own. This is the escrow escrow one saying that escrow is in house for Clio, and they get their kickbacks. So that's kind of how those docs you wouldn't normally call out for. However, they are in there. Also the Avid, we don't use those, but other agencies use them, and that is in there as well. Okay, so those are all the ones that are in there for that. And on DocuSign, it gets kind of weird too. Sometimes they don't show all the way, and a lot of times you could fix that by refreshing or just waiting, and then it'll appear. Okay, so if we X out of there, we go to 2. So that's when we're at 2.0, has everything. Then she breaks it down to the TDS. This should probably be just a 3-page little TDS. Okay, so there's that TDS. You can see where I populated it with my inspection. And so that's the TDS right there. So she's just trying to work a system here that works for everybody. She understands it. If you could understand it, I understand it. I think she's doing a pretty good job with this, breaking it down to where it's all we're all able to navigate easily. So I don't want to get too redundant, but that's the same thing. So anything that's in the 2.0, it's broken down to all the different ones that are within that one. 2.5, 2.6. This is that escrow one. See, this one wouldn't normally be on yours, but it's in there for the escrow charges and their relationship with the Clio real estate. So that's 2.7, 2.8. This one's the MLS listing that is signed by the buyers, and I had an initial at the bottom there on each page, and then I believe I had them sign the last page. Maybe not, just initials on all those. And as you can see, this one here under the contingency, it did have a sale contingent upon seller. Still trying to find out what's going on with that. Sharon hasn't gotten back to me. Excuse me. However, the listing agent did get back to me this evening saying that, or I forwarded you what she sent me regarding the city, and that looks pretty legit. Okay, buyers elections. This is one that you were asking that you didn't see, but as you can see, she did fill that out. And the only ones that she noted were construction costs, like we talked about, and the other, which was a meeting with the city code enforcement. So that's that. The lead base didn't apply, and there was another, the water heater one. Not sure if she put it in here yet. I don't think she put it in here yet. So on an example like that where the, oh wait, water heater smoke detector, is that this one? No, that's the water conserving. Okay, so I know I have the water heater one done, and that is when you called out for. So if it's not up there, that means you didn't put it in there yet. So if you went down below this one here and you scroll down, you would probably see it in here somewhere, and it would show signed. So let's see. This is probably, it'll be under W, which would be maybe towards the end here. Yeah, water heater smoke detector. Okay, so this would be it right here, signed. If you clicked on that, you would see that the water heater smoke was signed by the buyers, and this one here is not signed by the seller. And the reason that is because when I sent it out to DocuSign, I received it back here signed. And then when I received it back from the seller's agent, it was just a regular PDF. So that would be this one. So this one probably has the seller's signature on it. Okay, let's see what happens here. And this is not it, because this is the one I prepared in DocuSign. So let's continue. Is there another water heater and smoke? I don't see it. Let me do something real quick while I got you here. Go to my desktop and see if it's here. Claremont Utility, Sharon Lee, water heater and smoke detector. I'm not sure if this is, yeah, this is the water heater smoke detector, but it's still not signed by Margaret. Okay, so where is that water heater? Alright, well, let's go for a little ride. Into my inbox, I'm gonna put, probably it came in from Aaron. Aaron's there. Hi all, this is the, let me see, SRP. Thank you, Aaron. It might be here. Water heater, here it is right here. So, this is the one that needs to be in the transaction room. So, I guess I could show you how I get things in the transaction room. All right, so there's that one. Save as. Desktop. Elderberry water heater, that works. Okay, so that's there. I'm gonna go back into my transaction room and I am gonna add that into the transaction room. Add it from the computer. Elderberry water heater, is it? I think it's that one. Okay, so it's not gonna let me pull that in because it's not liking its format. So let me see here. Open that up. That's why. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. So I'm gonna go ahead and move that to trash. Go back to mail. It was this one here. Okay, so I'm gonna open this attachment. I'm gonna file. I'm gonna export it as PDF. I'm gonna 300 elderberry. Save. Okay, now that's a PDF. It'll like that one. I'm gonna go back in transaction room. I'm gonna add from the computer 300. Choose. Okay, it has been added. All right, so here it is right here in the transaction room, and we have a signed by the seller document there. So what I'm going to do, so Melissa knows what it is, I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to write signed. Whoop, what happened? Okay, she'll know what it is. Signed by buyers and seller. Saved. X out of there now. Okay, so now that would be S. Yeah, I'm gonna, forgive me, I didn't mean to go into all this with you, but go ahead and put WHSD. Okay, that should make more sense to her. should be down here. Okay, there it is right there. Okay, so anyways, that's kind of how that works. If you wanted to say, for example, you needed this for something. Okay, so there it is open. You're saying, you know, I need to print this out, or I'm going to email this. You could go to document actions and you can email it, or you could download it, or you could print it. Carol Curtis. Oh, look at that. You just emailed me. It appears to be in order. Oh, this is fun. Okay, so I just got a live email from you as I have you on camera here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. And I'm hoping that works for you as far as the transaction rooms. That way you could just access it whenever you like, and you could get a feel of how Melissa's putting things together. That way when she comes to you and say, hey, Miss Curtis, how's this? You think this is going to work? You know, this format, and you'll be aware of it and know exactly what she's talking about. And so let me do this one more time. So transaction, let me just walk you through a few things here. Transactions, these are all the different, like for example, when I did an open house, I just kind of made this up. And from Castleton, these are the people that I met at Castleton. I just kind of scanned these, and these are people I could reach out to. And basically, Luz and Caesar. Are you working with a realtor? No. Have you been pre-qualified? Yes. I mean, that's a perfect client to reach back out to, you know. So when another condo comes up, I will be emailing Luz and Caesar. So that's kind of just my notes there. All right, so for example, St. John, that's the one we just built the garage on. Documents, I just did open house, so I had a residential purchase agreement at the open house with me just in case I could write an offer. Okay, transaction, the last transaction we did on Redlands, you can see how I did the closing file, and this is more to the note. See, here's the transaction here, and above this is the closing file, and below is everything that has to do with this transaction. I believe we said a lot of stuff like the letters and just that's even I give them the Claremont School map. Just everything that has anything to do with that transaction is in here. Okay, so on the closing file, which once again is above this thing here, all right, it would start off with the AD like yours starts off with, and then it starts off with the RPA, seller's counter, buyer's counter, disclosures, preliminary title printout, closing documents, repair requests, BIE. You know, everything that you would need for your closing file is in here, down to the VP, the property verification. Okay, so to get out of there, you would just go to transactions, and then back to this one here, Elderberry, our most current one, and back to documents to see what documents are there, and then there's all the documents again. Okay, so that's pretty much it, and I hope that helps because I'm a visual kind of guy, and when I'm able to do things on my own time, it works. And that's just my screen shot. Let me read your email that you just sent me here. Carol Elderberry, Carol Curtis. It appears to be in order, but I'm glad that the lender will have the final say. Of course, that's funny. I also emailed that to the buyers as well, and I sent this. I'll read this to you. Sent this to Diana and Ariana. It looks like you have gotten more familiar with the City of Ontario's procedures and rules than most people know about. Man, what an educational experience this has been for you. It all looks good to me. I forwarded it to my broker and the buyers to see what they say. I'll touch bases with Deanne tomorrow as well. Great job. So that's kind of where we're at with that transaction. All right, so all is well, and I'll email you the username, which is homesales@thomasmessina.com, case sensitive, and I'll email you the password. That way, when you go into the transaction rooms, it'll, you only have to usually do that once if you save the password, and then you could go in kind of like how I would go in with Google. I just press transactions, and then I'm in. You don't have to log in anymore. So that's kind of how that would work for you. Okay, so wish you well, and I know you're going out of town, and let me see. I think you just emailed me again. Let's take a look at that. Okay, I did give thought to the posting and endorsement for against the propositions. You are right about the usual opinion. I will leave the final decision up to you. 3 on this one. The 2 propositions mentioned are pro homeowner, which a lot of our clients are, but there might be some renters who will like rent control and would vote yes on 10, I suppose. Well, you totally look at it from every angle. That's what we love about you. Okay, checking out. I'll get things to you. Thanks, bye.